Charlie?
We can. Okay. Welcome to the ERPB session for Tuesday, April 3rd. We will begin our session by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you to our various attendees. We'll take a roll call now. Mr. Montana?
Present.
Ms. McCain?
Here.
Mr. Gill?
Here.
Myself, Mr. Fernandez, and then staff.
Lourdes Cabrera.
Marcus Lightfoot.
Tiffany Hood.
Okay. Our first item, the applicant is not present, I believe, right? So
Not
we
at
can
this moment, no.
Which applicant is present right now that we can skip?
B, we can start with 12-020.
Okay. We will review out of order ERPB 12-020. Applicant is MD Affordable Housing Foundation for property located at 6477 Southwest 60th Avenue for new construction of a single-story, single-family residence.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, members of the board, and applicants. The request this morning is from the Miami-Dade Affordable Housing Foundation. The applicant is requesting approval from the Environmental Review and Preservation Board to permit the construction of a one new affordable single-family residence. This home will have 1,570 square feet and should be LEED Silver certified. The property is zoned RS4, specifically located at 6477 Southwest 60th Avenue. Legal descriptions included in the survey, and a current survey signed and sealed is also attached in your package. The background on this project is that it passed and it was adopted by a vote of 7-0 from the City Commission for the conveyance agreement with Miami-Dade Affordable Housing to construct 6 homes, LEED certified affordable homes on agency-owned properties, which is the CRA. The site you're looking at is one out of those 6. And what staff has done is that we've treated, as we normally would, each home separate by the address, by the folio. Each have their particular site distinctions and then so forth. The building analysis is also included in your package, but additional background from the commission was that indeed it was passed and adopted to waive the fees for the development. And there were also a variance that was indeed approved on February 21st, also by the City Commission. This lot in particular, it currently requires 60 feet of frontage. When it was platted, it only has 50. So that was indeed approved via resolution number 49-12-13606. It also, being that it was new construction, met with the Development and Review Committee, just like any other new construction home would, as you've seen on the ERPB's agendas in the past. The existing conditions of this site, again, is that it's 50 feet where 60 is the minimum, and 6,000. It does meet the square footage, but not the frontage, and that was approved by Planning Board with a recommendation, and then approved by the City Commission. Sustainable design, staff added the fact that the U.S. Green Building Council has created leadership in energy and environmental design, which emphasizes energy preservation. This application is seeking LEED certification. The elevations are indeed a one-story home. The sustainable building finishes and materials are noted on the elevations. For example, we have gypsum wallboard to be of recycled content, an exterior paint minimum of 50% reflectance. The front facade also illustrates a dormer, and the articulation of the roof actually enhances the character, and the porch gives it a friendly neighborhood feeling. The walls will be stucco with embedded fiberglass mesh and isolated concrete forms, and the exterior paint, again, will have a 50% reflectance. The landscaping plan, it's part of your site plan. This has been combined on your site plan sheet, SP1. You see there the existing trees. Also, your survey has the location of the existing trees. The proposed minimum is 5 trees, and the application meets that. This application, the materials is also for the pavers on the driveway. In other words, meaning leaving as much green as possible on the site. So the only footprint is indeed the home, the footprint, which is indeed the impervious. So it complies with the requirements of Section 20-3.5E, 1-story for single-family homes, dimensional requirements. Staff's recommendation is for final approval. It needs to meet the requirements of the adopted stormwater ordinance, as you've seen in the past in other applications, that it meets the requirements of Section 20-3.5E of the Land Development Code, that it meets the requirements to meet the LEED certification. Also, that list from previous meetings is also attached in your package. It's labeled Exhibit E at the top, that it meets any comments and suggestions from the board this morning as well. And my apologies, the report does say that the architect would be here to answer your questions, and my understanding is that he had an emergency, and that's why he is not here today. This was brought up to staff's attention mid-Friday afternoon, and this was all completed at that time. Ann Manning is here, and James McCann representing the CRA, and Ann Manning is from the Affordable Housing. Good morning. You may approach if you have any questions.
Good morning. I apologize for being tardy.
Good
Schwartz
morning.
here.
Welcome.
So staff, there's no one to present this project?
Well, again, let's
No.
remember it's not required. Ann Manning is here to answer your question, and so is James McCann from the CRA. So
There are 3 of the houses on the agenda.
that is correct.
They're all for preliminary.
Staff's recommending approval, final approval, but
They're not fully engineered drawings as of yet. There's no mechanical drawings and energy calculations.
okay, I should have clarified that. There is indeed complete. The permit is complete and has a permit number. Actually, it's sitting on my drafting table pending ERPB's approval to approve it for zoning, basically. So I'm just waiting for ERPB.
A condition, though, of the
Saving paper, we just gave you the architectural, which is mainly what normally
But
you
also-
focus.
but a condition of the project is that it be LEED Silver certified.
Correct.
And
That's part of the agreement from
And they s-
October.
And they submitted their registration number with USGBC and their paperwork showing
Not to staff,
required.
but they are here to answer your questions.
I have a question about the 3 properties. Yeah.
We will provide that to staff.
Just since they're all 3 coming pretty much together, I noticed from the photos that 2 of them don't really have much landscaping, and one of them has an oak tree. I
And we
believe.
treat them separate and discuss them, please, separate. Just for the record, it's just a lot more clear. We're starting, Beth, since you walked
Okay.
in late, we're starting with 020, which is 6477 Southwest 60th Avenue.
Okay.
And we can provide the registration you're looking for.
For the USGBC?
Right.
Okay.
Was a landscape architect involved in this?
No.
No, okay. Is there a landscape plan in here?
Yes, it's on your site plan.
One question, just for clarification, those two big mango trees are going to stay?
That was my question. Also.
Yeah, that's what I started to talk about was,
Well, if it's on that back property you're talking about, yes, all existing trees are staying on 64.
Will be staying. There are two big mango trees on that particular lot. The other lot has nothing, and then one lot has,
right, one lot has mango, avocado, black olive, and needle pines.
Is that 6477 or 59?
That's 5928.
no.
That's another item,
Yeah, but we're just
please.
doing 6477. That's the one with the mango
Right,
trees. I know that.
5477. It's
77, this west view photo, it looks like it could be a massive black olive tree. Is that on the property or is it on the rear property of the
It's on the rear property line.
is that remaining?
Yes.
Okay.
and it has the oak there also, the existing oak.
Well,
right?
the legend on the site plan shows all trees as new, no existing to remain.
Okay, so they're removing the oak tree, the black olive tree, and the mango tree?
It says it illustrates an existing oak near the rear of the subject property, but it doesn't say if
That's
it's
not
going-
part of this property. It's the adjacent property in the back.
Oh, okay.
But again, there's diagrammatically, without including palms, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 trees shown in the site plan, and graphically they tie in on the schedule as one being Quercus Virginia, which is on the rear of the property, and that shows as existing new yes, existing no. And then along the front, there's a. I'm terrible with these names. Lagastroemia speciosa, the creep myrtle, and it also shows as new, as well as a mango also shows as new. And then all the palms, all the landscape material shows as new. I don't know if that's just a misprint or.
That's correct. If you look at your survey, there's only one tree that's actually on the property, and it's an oak tree in the very far back.
Yeah.
Your survey, the boundary survey and the landscape, there's an oak tree in the back.
So indeed, that is the only existing tree.
Yes. I'd have to look at the 6487. I think it might be where you're talking about the mangoes.
And that tree that's shown on the property has a 24-inch diameter is located where on the site plan?
It's in your east, back on the back property line.
It's not shown there. And it's not shown on the schedule. And it's not shown on the schedule as oak tree to remain.
There'll be no tree removal permits approved for this site. If that's any,
That one.
if that puts that to rest.
Yes, ma'am?
Record on the trees for this particular property. Could we do that?
Certainly.
So
You have not filed for
existing
a,
tree will remain if it's not marked correctly on the
I guess if
site
you could
plan?
just revise the site plan, show it there to remain. That's all.
Great.
I'm sure it's just a easy enough error. Everything else being proposed, the mango and such, are all new. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
so existing trees to remain
Or to survey.
and no tree removal approved. You can make that a condition from what I hear.
There are two big.
There's
There are two big mango trees on the property.
Not according to the survey.
I went by there yesterday.
Not according to
Too
the
big.
survey.
that is a photo of a mango tree.
Two.
Could we be clear about the property that we're talking about, 6477?
Yes.
Yes.
See right here? This bottom says east elevation.
It's a site.
Right there.
Are they the same property?
6470. Yeah. The survey has
Where are they
6477 Southwest 60th Avenue as the property address, and the submitted plans show 6477 Southwest 60th Avenue as the proposed site as well. So they do match. I guess the question is, there seems to be a discrepancy between the proposed site plan and the survey. First discrepancy is the oak tree that's shown in the survey at the east side of the property is not shown on the site plan. Easy enough to correct. And note that the trees existing to remain will not be removed. But then I think there's also a question being brought up by some of the members on the dais that there are some existing mango trees which are not shown on the survey.
I think that's on the east side, which we haven't looked at, and that property's not being considered.
It's in the okay. It's in the neighboring property. It just appears
Right
like it
on
is,
the
but it's not.
sideline.
Okay,
That's
that's why the neighbor.
on the east side.
Yeah, it's on the survey. Only one tree in the survey.
Dead center in the middle of the property. I'm wondering how you're going to build with that mango tree in the middle of the property.
Well, yeah, this is the
Understand this
east
picture.
abutting property.
Understood.
Okay.
And then you had mentioned that all the paperwork had been submitted as part of the building permit for the USGBC registration
Right.
and lead certification. Okay,
Yes, we are
perfect.
registered.
Perfect.
When do you anticipate completion?
Determine, this board's action will determine when it proceeds through the building department. My understanding from our committee meeting last week, that the building director said in a week he should be able to kick out plans as soon as we have a building permit.
A year?
No, I would hope in a month.
I mean, it'll be complete in a year?
Oh, from the date we start? The builder's here 3 months, 4 months?
Takes you 3 months to actually build a single-family home.
Thank you for being here. You want to state your name for the record, please, and sign in also? Thank you.
My name
James,
is
you
Ario
signed in?
Lundy.
For the record, can you speak into the mic? Because your voice over here, I'm not sure if it picked up.
My name is Ario Lundy. The name of my company is Palmetto Homes of Miami, Inc. I'm the one that's building the green home for the city.
And it should take you how long?
3 months to build a single-family home.
I make a motion to approve the project as presented before us with the requested correction to be noted on the site plan that the existing live oak is shown in the survey be updated on the site plan.
Final approval or preliminary approval?
Preliminary, what do you think?
Can we be clear on that, please?
Well, my understanding is that the applicant mentioned that all the additional support material showing that they have applied with USGBC for LEED Silver certification has been submitted, that the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural drawings, energy calculations are all in the possession of the building department, and in fact, there's an approved building permit pending?
Correct.
So
The
that-
mechanical, all the engineering has been
So
complete.
they've done their work. We were
Unless
just
there's
given the
any
architectural
Unless
sheets.
there's any changes, then the applicant knows you have to go to see Lourdes and come back, right? Right.
Thank you.
So we have a motion, we have a
To build
second.
as per plans
To approve
and
with
provide
the
that.
noted comment to update the site plan to reflect the one tree that's shown in the survey.
Second. Yeah.
Second, okay. Mr. Montana?
Yes.
Ms. McCain?
Yes?
Ms. Schwartz, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Myself, yes as well. You approve unanimously. We'll go ahead and we'll review the your other two items that are in order here, which is ERPB 12-021. Same applicant, MD Affordable Housing Foundation. This is for property located at 6487 Southwest 60th Avenue for new construction of a single-story, single-family residence. Staff, is there anything particular to this property that we need to note that's different from the other one?
Different from the other one would be the fact that it's the second home out of the 6. And this particular one went before the planning board and the city commission relating to the variance section to allow 54 feet of frontage where 60 feet is required. So this lot is 54. The site, the existing conditions are different. And again, the materials for that front area is also included. Your site plan and your landscape is included. As far as being different, is this site is very narrow. It's 117.6 feet in depth, and it does comply with the 6,000 square feet required. So it only seeked a variance for those, for the difference of those 6 feet, from 54 to 60. Let me check the survey to highlight those difference. No, it shows a vacant lot throughout. And again, staff is recommending final because we also have the complete set of working drawings with the engineering. Thank you.
I don't know if we have any comments from the dais regarding this application.
I know this is an irregular lot size, but I'm really happy to see somebody wants to build something here. And good luck on all of these properties that you're going to build, because I live right next to there, and I'd love to see some homes built and some families move in.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? No? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Final
second?
approval?
Second.
Final approval.
Final approval.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion, we have 2 seconds.
You all second it.
And if there's no additional comments, Mr. Montana?
Yes.
Ms. McCain?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Absolutely.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
And myself, yes, as well. Unanimously approved for that item. And moving on to your third application, which is ERPB 12-022. Again, same applicant, MD Affordable Housing Foundation. This property is located at 5928 Southwest 66th Street. And again, this is for new construction of a one-story single-family residence.
What's unique about this site is that it also had a variance passed and adopted by the City Commission on February 21st to allow a 50-foot of frontage where 60 is required. It does comply with the square footage, and again, this site has a large front yard. Basically, the house is situated far back into the lot. This lot is 143 deep and by 50-foot frontage, so it does comply with the minimum 6,000 square footage. But the house sits far back into the lot and does provide a large front yard. It was also situated in the back to accommodate for the several trees that are midway in the middle of the lot. There's also and only one tree to be removed, which you can see on the site plan and landscaping where indeed that tree is, and staff has made a condition that indeed a
Lourdes,
yes, sir.
I believe on this particular property, we have 2 trees to be removed.
Okay, so could you point out to me, I pointed out one, remove the existing olive tree,
And then there's a umbrella tree.
and the second tree would be an umbrella tree. Staff has recommended that she'll file for a tree removal permit at the Planning and Zoning Department for the removal of those 2 trees mentioned this morning.
Do those have to be replaced?
Well, they comply with the minimum requirement of 3 trees with the proposed that you have on the landscaping plan, and they will build as per plans.
Okay, so the avocado and the needle pine and
Those stay.
those
All
all
remain.
stay.
The only 2,
So it's just black olive and the umbrella.
correct.
That's fine.
Except a D on that property. That's nice.
Do we have any additional comments from the dais?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. If there are no additional comments or questions, Mr. Montana?
Yes.
Ms. McCain?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Absolutely.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Myself, yes, as well. You approve unanimously. You can
Appreciate it.
proceed. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, ladies and gentlemen.
Is New Chinatown here yet?
Thank you.
Again?
You can,
Let's see. Staff is application ERPB 12-019.
I thought there was a deadline.
here that you know of, or no?
I'm sorry?
The applicant for New Chinatown Restaurant for item 12-019. Do you know if they are here to present?
No. The very first one is not here.
They're not required to be present?
No, but let's just move
Leave
on.
it for last?
Let's move on, please, since we do have an audience and applicants are here.
Okay, let's see. Next item we have in order here is ERPB 12-023, applicant Jordan Blum. This is for Tupelo Honey, located at 7250 Southwest 57th Avenue. It's for a proposed signage installation for a commercial business.
Correct. The request is for one sign. Obviously, the previous tenant, some of you may or may not recall, is no longer within the city, and we now have a new retail store. Basically, they do sell jeans from women and men. Just want to let you know that, but he'll probably discuss that a little more. As we know, flat sign, one is allowed per facade. The applicant has selected to locate the one sign at the chamfer corner of the building. We're all familiar with this roof line, and it does angle out, and then it turns, and there are indeed at that end. There's also a standard where ERPB has mentioned that these, to be consistent with other tenants, that the maximum height of the letters of any sign should not be 16. That was discussed by the previous members. Some of you may or may not agree. That's all right. It was just something that was said. If you notice, Supercuts has, caps, and it's very, unified, because and they felt that 16 inches would be the biggest and the largest size in height. The applicant is proposing 13 inches in height. So as far as staff's concerned, we are, it's okay. I mean, the board had expressed this, and indeed it's less than the 20% maximum allowable. The applicant also knows that indeed, as far as the size and scale and proportion, that the ERPB can revise this. Now, the unique thing about the sign is that it is built, because it used to sit at another location, and the applicant can explain more about that. It is very nicely and very well kept, so it basically will look like a new sign. So what you see on the photos is indeed superimposed. A sign that is existing, and that's truly what it would look like to scale. Those are the 13 inches. And we also have the approval letter from the property owner. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following condition: that all window graphics shall be removed upon occupancy. As you can see, all that's been just to block the windows, to show not to see the activity that's happening within the interior of the store. And any additional signage shall be submitted to the ERPB. And I'll go ahead and add anything that you do to the exterior that's different, that you could see from the street, would need to come to the ERPB. So I'd like to be a little more specific on that, not just additional signage, but also anything that is visible from the street that you change, storefront, doors, walls, requires approval from the Environmental Review and Preservation Board. And of course, any comments and concerns from the board this morning. Thank you.
Morning.
I'm not understanding under where it says background on page 2. I guess the previous ERPB board set a standard for future signage to be installed on this reference building, meaning, what does that mean? Just this building they want to see?
Just this building, yes, to be perhaps no larger than the 16 inches.
But there's nothing in the land development code. It was just their recommendation, right?
Right.
Okay. So
staff
they're
has
only 13 inches in height.
Correct. So they
they're
comply.
under the code. Okay.
But it's just luckily, if it was 13, what if it would have been part of the discussion when he came and submitted, and also
Okay, do you have
doing
any-
our due diligence and our background check.
Do you have any intentions of more signs?
Intentions, possibly. The other signs on the street, some are painted on, some are illuminated. This is like a metal sign.
The one we're talking about now?
No, this is our only intentions for currently.
Just one sign?
Yeah.
Nothing on the glass on the storefront?
There may be some stenciling on our glass doors that when you enter, like saying open 7 days a week, and our hours, minor stenciling, but as far as any big graphics, no.
No, just so you know, I mean, any ribbon signs, anything like that, you'd have to come back again for those. Just
Ribbon signs?
yeah, along the storefront, if you have like a ribbon sign that's applied, that continues from storefront to storefront continuously, anything of that effect would have to come
We're
back
going to take
before us.
full advantage of all the glass so that people can see into the store.
Okay, so just one sign we're reviewing. Okay.
Yep.
And so did this sign, what you're saying, came from another store?
Yeah, we had a store at the Falls for
Okay.
16 years. We have another store in Aventura, and we've had other stores in Boca and Fort Lauderdale, and this is our sign that we've had for the last 26 years. So.
Is the fall store still open?
No, we closed the end of February, and we're trying to open hopefully this week and in the next 10 days here in South Miami.
Lots of luck.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any additional comments from the dais? Concerns? No? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the staff's recommendations.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Montana?
Yes.
Ms. McCain?
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
And myself, yes, as well. You're approved unanimously. You can proceed with your building permit.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are we expecting item 019 to show up today? Because maybe we could just get it out of the way already.
I always expect everyone. Why they're not here is
Well,
On me.
that's why I'd like to get the small stuff done
Oh, I
out of
see
the
what
way
you
so we
mean.
can
Oh, I
focus.
see. Yeah.
Well, let's jump to item, actually, the first item, 12-019, so we can get that out of the way. Should be fairly quick. This is the applicant who's not present for
Want to
property
defer?
located at New Chinatown Restaurant, address 5958 South Dixie Highway, for exterior door installation. I believe we had deferred this application from last time it was here. I believe the concern we had and the comment we had and requested information was that there's no site plan showing the dimensions of the existing 90-degree head-in parking that is along the drive aisle there where the proposed new door is being added with a new sloped accessible ramp type area. And we had a concern that that new accessible ramp type area that would pop out 12 foot 6 inches would completely intrude into the drive aisle and make driving through there basically impossible. We requested that some dimensions be provided, also that they had in their floor plan they had shown the parking as angled when it is not. There's no survey. So the package remains exactly as it was presented before. It's incomplete. I make a motion to deny this application.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Mr. Montana?
Deny.
Ms. McCain?
Deny.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Gill?
Yes to deny.
And myself as well.
I believe there was a deadline on this by the fire department, so.
Again, I think we strongly urge in position of the ERPB board is that applicants, especially if they have a time restriction and it's of urgency, that they do come to the meetings to present. That way we can ask questions and help them expedite the process.
Have you heard from them since 2 weeks ago? Have they been in touch with you? Did you?
Yes,
contact-
my report includes my conversation with the architect after the last meeting when there was no show. And everyone is told to be present. And the
If-
date of the meeting and so forth.
Which one?
Maybe they need a
Repeatedly.
reminder.
More than once, they're told the time, the date.
Let's move on with, in order then, with ERPB, item ERPB 12-016. Applicant is City National Bank of South Florida. This is for property located at 6388 South Dixie Highway, and it's for signage installation, various signage on the building.
Good morning, Chairman and Board. Good morning, applicant member to sign in. This application, like Chairman Fernandez said, is for the installation of signage for 6388 South Dixie High, which is located in the GR zoning district. This is for the new construction building of City National Bank. If you recall, on November 15th of 2011, the applicant previously brought signage before you for the installation of 4 signs. Two on the front of the building, 1 on the south, and the detached sign. At that meeting,
What was that? One on the south?
1 on the south, on the south side of the building, 2 on the front, one that said City National Bank with Caja Madrid below it, and the company logo in the center above the door. And the 4th was the detached sign that's along South Dixie Highway. The board recommended approval for all of the signs except for the company logo that went above the door. There was a tie vote for that. Therefore, due to a tie, it did not pass. However, a condition was imposed that that sign was approved, that it be non-illuminated. The applicant has brought back a new signage plan. They've revised the signage, and they're adding signage as well. They're still doing the sign on the south. They're still doing the detached sign, and they're still doing a sign on the north. The 3 of the flat signs, the new sign they're putting is on this north side of the building, which is above the drive-through area that faces north. So 3 of the signs will say City National Bank. They've removed Caja Madrid from the name of the business, and all 3 of those signs measure out to be 61.74 square feet, which is a slightly reduced sign than what was originally approved back in November of last year. They're also asking for approval for the company logo again, which will be on the front of the building. As you recall, like I just said, that sign was disapproved due to there being too many signs on a building. Pursuant to the Land Development Code, you're only allowed 1 flat sign per facade. Because they're proposing 2, one of them couldn't be approved. Therefore, staff recommends denial for that company logo sign because it's going with the original intent of the board for the previous meeting. The applicant is also requesting to revise the detached sign for the building. At the November 15th meeting, they proposed a brand new sign from the ground up, which would comply with the code. What they're doing now is that they're essentially refacing the existing sign, the existing frame that's on the site at this time. Pursuant to the Land Development Code, the existing sign out there would be considered a non-conforming sign, and by code, any changes of copy to it will consider it a new sign. Because that frame does not comply with the code, staff cannot support that sign as well. If they propose a sign that complies with the code for detached signs, staff would be more than glad to support it. But this sign that they're proposing to reface doesn't comply with code. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following conditions. We are recommending approval for the sign 1 on the west elevation, which is just the name of the sign. The sign on the north elevation, which is on the portion for the drive-through, and the sign on the south side of the building. With the conditions for those signs or any additional signs will require a separate application for review by the board and any comments and suggestions from the board. Staff recommends denial for the detached sign as well as the second flat sign on the west elevation, which is the company logo. Remember, pursuant to 20-4.3L of the Land Development Code, the board does have the ability to approve signage. If they do decide to approve these 2 signs that staff recommends denial for, staff recommends the conditions that sign 2 on the west elevation be revised so that it's non-illuminated, just as a condition that the board was going to impose at the previous November meeting. And an approval letter from FDOT allowing the sign to remain in the right-of-way must be submitted prior to the permit being approved for the detached sign. Thank you.
Let me just tell you where I stand here. There are just way, way, way too many signs on this property. In fact, the sign that's on Dixie Highway is not shown. I am not, so we can cut to the chase, but I'm going to tell you where I'm standing from. I'm not approving anything that's not according to the Land Development Code, okay? We don't need to have a massive amount of signage here, and that's where I'm coming from, so.
Well, the applicant's here?
Yes.
Okay. If I can get a little clarification from staff, in the report we read about the reference on the west elevation to sign 1 and sign 2. Which would be considered the sign 2? The one that had the smaller sign that reads City National Bank with the logo, or the large standalone logo over the entry?
Sign 2 would be the sign, the company logo, the standalone sign, the company logo by itself above the door.
The large one.
Yeah, the larger one. That's the one that staff,
That's referred to as sign 2.
sign 2, correct.
That's one staff's recommending not be installed because it's a second sign on the
Correct.
facade.
And the point is already, and the same logic is implied here also, that the point is already across that this is City National Bank. You have another sign a few feet to the left that already says name of the building.
Additionally, if I could ask of the applicant just to get a better understanding of the design of the proposed signs. I'm reading here that I believe the proposed large logo sign we're just talking to is referred to as sign number 2, as well as the smaller one on the west facade, and the one along the south facade, and the one along the north facade. All those signs would be illuminated signs?
As proposed, yes, but we would be willing to not.
Which means, and according to how they function, they're backlit, they're box-type signs that are backlit, blue acrylic, but then at night they're lit, so they will be lit in white, so they will appear white. That's what's it says, appear blue during daytime and will light white at night.
That's correct.
Okay. And then the on the corners of the building, you have some decorative screens. It shows the logo also repeated in those screens on the elevations. How is that being achieved?
It's a patterned screen, and the design of the logo is etched on the screen, and it's my understanding that that was approved previously when the plans were submitted. But if I may, can I sort of start from
Sure.
the beginning? I don't want
Absolutely.
to cut you off from your questions.
No,
first.
go ahead.
Let me
go ahead.
introduce myself. My name is Ines Marrero. I'm an attorney. I'm at 701 Brickell Avenue. I'm here on behalf of City National Bank, and I'm here today with a representative from the bank as well as the person who was in charge of the project who was before the board previously. I think it's important, and I don't want to make a big deal presentation, but to remember where the property is. This is the old Lotus I Am restaurant on Dixie Highway. And when we look at signage, I think it's important to understand that this property is different than the Tupelo Honey and Sunset and 57th. This is Dixie Highway. There's a lot of traffic. And let me start with the detached sign, which is important it's the easiest one to walk you through. As staff indicated, this is an existing sign. This was a sign that was there from when the restaurant was there. The restaurant's been demolished, but thank God for Google Earth and Google Pictures. And this is the sign. This sign is located within the FDOT right away, which means we cannot alter it. We cannot make it comply with the land development code requirements for detached signs. The only way we can keep that sign is if we merely resurface it. We need that sign for safety reasons. And for that I have our handy-dandy photograph of Dixie Highway. And as you can see, there's a lot of curb cuts from Dixie Highway when traffic is northbound. People need to see where the entrance is to the bank and with enough time to get in, because this is going to be an entry only and this is an exit only. And so for safety reasons, we need to identify the location of the bank for people driving up Dixie Highway. Again, this is not the pedestrian-friendly environment of Sunset or 57th. We're looking at US 1 with a lot of traffic, a lot of other businesses along US 1. So we need to have an identification for the bank for people to know where to pull in. Even if you know where the bank is, and that's where you bank every week, you still need the reminder, the landmark of here's where the bank is, here's where I turn. So we believe that there's also a safety issue associated with the detached sign. We cannot make it comply with your LDRs because we can only use what's existing there because it's in the DOT right away. So that's the detached sign.
Can I stop you right
Sure.
there? Because I have a question. Are they allowed to keep, what was the name of the restaurant?
Siam Lotus.
Siam Lotus. Okay. Are they allowed to keep that, a similar sign like that, or not?
the moment they change the name on the
When
sign.
you change the copy, which is, as Mr. Fernandez just said, change the name is a change of copy. You're changing the face of it. At that time, you're supposed to come into compliance with the code. Right now, that type of sign, which is labeled in our code as a detached sign, which normally is only allowed on Dixie and on Bird Road. Okay, so we got the right street, which again, it's
they're
perhaps
changing
different than the neighborhood and other streets, but the detached sign, as Marcus stated here in the report, you need for it to be 35 square feet and a maximum height of 12 feet. This sign is much higher. I believe those are the...
That they're requesting?
No, the sign that's there now is not in conform, it's not
They're not
consistent.
Conforming.
Consistent
It's
with the
45
code.
conforming.
square feet and
It's taller than 12 feet.
So what do they want? They want the...
They want to keep it,
All right.
They just want to change.
Put the logo on it.
yeah.
And according to the land development code, because it's a change of copy,
When you change the copy, change the name,
Right, code
you have to
compliance.
bring it to code.
okay, so what's the problem?
It's too tall.
They don't, they, for whatever reason, I don't know structurally, I don't know why they can't reduce it and.
The problem is that
Put a new
there will be no
sign?
sign. We will not be able to have a sign. There will not be an identifier, either monument or pylon sign for this bank
Well-
on Dixie Highway because it's
Well,
on
let's-
DOT right of way, so we will not be able to rebuild it to meet the LDRs. The only way we can have a sign is if we resurface the sign that's existing there, which will look, as it's on your plans, it'll change from, we will,
What?
Yeah.
Well, out of
we got it all
curiosity,
last- last page.
out of curiosity, when I don't know if staff recalls this offhand or not, there was a monument sign for Chipotle, correct?
But that's, the sign that's there was approved by the board. It's
No, but I'm
it's
saying-
not 12 feet height.
No, I understand, but I'm saying it's within that FDOT corridor as well, and that monument sign was.
you'd have to look at a survey to determine that. I think that City National Bank
No,
gives up
that's
more
not.
property.
It's a different.
It's a
completely
different site.
the
They're
way it
not in
works.
FDOT, Chipotle.
It's not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And I believe Chipotle had a different signage, and they had to come down to a more,
So their situation with the FDOT
it's not the same.
is a different condition unique to their site.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if they were to, other than just change the copy to their logo, come into compliance with that sign, lower it, make it within the height,
I
within the
agree.
land development code, and go ahead and put their sign on
What are
it?
The only way out of
What are the FDOT? What is FDOT
You know, because
restricting
I
you
think
to?
and also one other thing I'd like to mention, when they do reconfigure the egress and ingress for that, because we just had that about a month ago or so, will they be putting enter by the driveway there and then exit
Well,
so that people will know
I
that
think
delineates?
I think the attorney representing she's claimed that that's the purpose of the sign, which is not accomplishing that, in my opinion. If the intent is to use a signage in order to navigate customers in and out of the property and make it safer, then it should accomplish that. This is not doing that. It's just sign. It's not telling me where I go in. It's not telling me where I go out.
I agree.
But that being said, we understand that the existing sign can remain from FDOT's guidelines. You know, it's grandfathered in, for lack of a better word, and you guys are allowed to change the cover and put your logo on it. The only problem is that from a zoning point of view, it becomes an issue because the moment you touch it, it doesn't comply anymore. The non-conforming becomes a problem for you. What does FDOT allow you to do? Have you been told?
Well, we actually, after you gave us approval on the previous freestanding sign that we brought in compliance, we went back to DOT. We had to get that first because we have to actually lease this area. We haven't leased it up till this point, but going forward, if we want to keep the sign, we have to lease it. So we presented that to them. They said as soon as you touch that sign, you cannot alter it in any way other than change the face. If you take it down and it's removed, it goes away. We cannot put any directionals up. We asked that question, see if we could lease space to do directionals, and they wouldn't allow us to do that either.
So
We're in a tough position that,
you can't bring it down and make it into bring it to
we can't.
compliance.
That was what we were trying to do, and we brought before you last time, and then we went back to DOT to include that as part of the lease, and they would not allow that.
I mean, you guys really like that sign? I mean, honestly, it's a nice building. It's a very attractive building, I think. And I think the signage proposed, even though you're not supposed to have the two logos, I personally don't have an objection, especially if the larger logo is not illuminated. The only one becomes, or vice versa, one of them is illuminated. Let's put it that way. It's a nice building architecturally. It is a giant sign. The building acts as a very good brand. I don't think you need that giant sign out there. It's just kind of an eyesore. And it's not really going to help navigate people in and out of the property.
Not the way it's presented and
Yeah.
designed.
And if they lower it, it may block.
They can't touch it. No, they can't touch it. They can't touch the sign. From FDOT, the moment, all they're allowed to do is take off the cover and put the new cover with the logo, and FDOT allows them. If they lower it 1 inch,
They can't come into
Gone.
compliance with our land development code?
Well, it may block traffic vision anyway.
right now I feel it kind of does a little bit, but, it probably still passes through it. I
Well,
just think it's an eyesore, and,
I mean, according-
zoning saying they're not going to, according to the land development code, you're not in compliance. It's up to us to say, okay, well, we allow it because we have that jurisdiction as the RPB, but
And we had
Problem
we had
is-
every intent to try to comply with it. That was our intent originally.
No, understood,
To come
of
in and
course.
do that until we went back and we're told we can't have it at all. We're in the unique situation here compared to the other businesses that are a lot closer up that own their own right-of-way. Unfortunately, we're 50 feet back. So by the time you get up on us with the speed you're going, you look and see our bank, boom, you're biased because there's only one way in. You can't go out. Enos was trying to say, if you go past it, you'd be going in the wrong
No,
way.
well, we can solve this problem if you just stay in compliance and put it, or can they put another sign that says arrow in, arrow out?
FDOT is not allowing anything.
Not separate from this, I'm going to call it a monument sign on Dixie Highway.
FDOT is not allowing it.
Well, then, going back to what the attorney for the project says, it's not, this sign that they're proposing does not give you indication of ingress, egress. It just does not.
They won't be able
It
to.
identifies the building. I didn't.
They won't be able to.
We
My
have enough
argument
signs
was
on the
when you're
building.
driving up, you know that the bank is coming up. You won't drive past it. You're on Dixie Highway, you have to maintain a certain speed, so it tells you it's there.
No, I'm not approving.
And again, you guys are absolutely crystal clear sure that FDOT will not allow any form of
Prefer not to have to
signage.
be here with the sign that we're.
You're on the
proposing.
record that FDOT confirmed they will not allow any form of signage to exist within their property that indicates in or out of the property at all, of any kind, of any size, of any kind, of any shape, of any form.
I'm not going to say enter or anything where you can
Okay.
enter the
Hey,
parking
the
lot.
bottom line is, if we approve this application, any other store on US 1 in our city limits and Bird Road are going to come before us, and we're going to be a city of US 1
Monument signs.
And I'm sorry, I think it
Yes, you'd be setting a precedent.
precedents, and that
Of
I
course.
can't.
That's what I'm afraid. It is existing. It's not a great thing. You do have the dilemma. The ideal situation would be that FDOT allowed you guys to put a smaller sign that said enter, exit, because you're redoing the whole landscape of the entrance, doing a much nicer entrance with less impact instead of a giant curb cut, the two smaller ones. That would be the ideal situation.
The other properties, it's our understanding, the other properties along US 1 do not have the hardship of the 50-foot FDOT
Yeah.
right away.
Got
So
all that.
they wouldn't be able to stand up here and say, we can't comply, we can't move it, because they won't have that much in front of their property between their building and
Yeah.
US 1. It really is a unique situation.
Yeah, everybody on each side of us, their property is right up to the back of the sidewalk. So it is a unique situation that just applies to this site.
Yeah, no, that's what I was wondering, trying to see what other buildings like Chipotle that come to mind that have a condition, but you guys have that unique situation. Comments, opinions?
Well, I have a
Well, we're dealing with the monument sign, right? Yeah, we're dealing with the monument sign. Yeah, we're dealing with the
Okay,
monument.
and I have a question about this monument sign. If FDOT won't allow them to bring it into compliance with our land development code and lower it or whatever, and they're not able to change the copy on it, so what's going to happen? Is that sign going to be completely removed if this gets denied?
Yes.
I mean, it just has to, the
Correct.
whole thing gets removed.
Correct.
Okay, well,
Or they leave sign.
you can put some balloons over by you as well.
I make a motion to deny this one sign.
Yes, if we could do a motion for each sign would be best for staff,
I
please.
make a motion to deny this particular sign.
Okay, so there's a motion to deny the existing monument sign that's proposed to be altered. Do we have a second?
You know, I'm torn. I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
because
me too.
the sign is there already. Just because they change the copy on it, nothing structurally is going to change.
No.
It just doesn't seem fair or to make sense to me. If it said Siam Lotus Room and it's the same exact sign and nothing has changed other than their logo, it just doesn't make sense. It seems to me that it's very unfair and that they should be able to put their logo on there. But
well, we have a motion. Is there a second to support the motion?
I'll second it. So we can vote.
You'll second the motion to deny the modification to the existing non-conforming monument sign? Okay, we have a motion. We have a
And
second.
one other thing, staff did recommend denial on this sign, right? Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Montana, how do you vote?
I'm voting to approve it, to not deny, in other words.
Okay, so Mr. Montana does not support the motion.
Can I just comment that I kind of really agree with Beth Schwartz's analysis. I mean, if the sign was there, I mean, and it seems like a hardship, and it is a unique situation that property is kind of elevated above next to the canal. It's a very unique property there, situation there. So I'm voting. I'm not voting.
So you do not.
you're not
supporting.
not
Supporting the motion.
I'm not supporting the denial.
Not supporting the motion. Okay, so one against the motion.
Fernandez?
Ms. McCain,
Okay.
supporting the motion.
I do not want this sign, this monument sign, so however you want to say it, and I'm going to tell you why.
Supporting. Okay, no, supporting the motion. No, I think it's understood.
I agree with
Let's continue
staff.
it.
Needless to say, taking one sign at a time and approving or disapproving, the applicant is asking for an abundance of signs for this property.
Well-
One at a time.
So that is my reason also. It does
Understood.
not go with the Land Development Code, and you're opening up Pandora's box. This is not the only property on US 1 and Bird Road with this unique situation. So,
If it's
in
a-
order to preserve the look of the city, I cannot see the sign.
So you vote to support the motion, correct?
To deny
To
the
deny.
sign.
Yes. Ms. Schwartz.
I have stated how I feel. The sign is already there. It's not like they're going to put up another monument sign, okay? It's not like people are going to be approved, new businesses are going to be approved for new monument signs so that we'll be a city of monument signs and eyesores. The sign is already there. I have no problem with grandfathering in certain things, and it's been there already. I am trying to help them. Maybe, perhaps, if there was another sign that could be taken down that you can swap out. We've done this with another site.
Well, right. We can continue discussing, but let's clarify. Let's just finish up with the motion. So, your position on the motion?
Yes or no?
I don't want to deny it. No, I think that they should be able to.
So you do not support the motion?
I do
So
not
you're against-
support denial. I think it's already pre-existing. They ought to be able to put it there.
Mr. Gill?
I reluctantly support denial.
Okay, so you support the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Fernandez.
Decisive votes.
Give me a second. Double negative here. Let's see. I believe I do not support the motion. I do not support the motion. So we have 3-2.
We have 3
Goes down.
to not deny it and 2 to deny it.
Yeah. So in other words, the
Okay.
signage can remain.
So the signage can remain. So how can they? My question is, if
You just approved it,
okay,
Approved.
3-2.
The motion was against it.
but don't they have to bring it into compliance?
No, they
Okay,
can't.
all right.
It is. It is.
They can just.
The sign currently is an existing non-conforming. It's permitted. The only thing is that it's up to us, and it's within our purview to be able to approve for them to swap out the logo on there, and it can stay as is.
Okay, given the fact that we've approved it basically now
The monument
to
sign.
help you out, because it's already there. It's already there. It's not like they're going to construct something new, Sharon. But maybe they'll be willing to,
Less signs on the building.
other signs that they can.
Well, now we'll move on. Now we'll move on. Now we'll
Well,
move
we
on.
can
I think
deny
it's
others.
important to see the business from
Now we'll
fast
move on
moving
to
US
the,
1.
Right.
And that's why you don't need so many signs on the building.
Exactly, which is why we can appeal to them to not.
But again,
I think it's opening Pandora's
I
box.
believe. Well, no, this is an existing sign.
It's already
Existing,
pre-existing,
non-conforming.
Sharon.
We can be very strict
New
on
construction.
if anybody else comes to us for landscape
No, it's
signs.
existing, non-conforming. But again, we're clear. The applicant did state, for the record, that FDOT does not allow any signage of any kind, directional or otherwise, within the
Do we
FDOT
have
corridor.
documentation for that? Or are we taking
Staff
the
does
applicant's
not.
word?
Do we have anything on
Lourdes,
the office? No.
Marcus, do you have documentation from FDOT that is what it is?
No.
We can provide that.
Could you
I have
send it
a
to
draft
Lourdes?
of the lease. I will send that
That'd be
to
great.
Ms. Cabrera.
Moving on to the building signs. I think we were discussing earlier, is there anything you would like to present specifically on the building signs?
Yes. First, I think it's important because there's a change of copy issue, and I think I think it's important to bring it up to at the beginning, but do you want to address this or leave it out? There's been, as the banking industry changes, when we submitted the plans, the bank was part of a group called Caja Madrid, and I was shown on some of the plans. That group has now changed, and now it's now Bankia Group. I just thought it'd be important to mention it. If it need be that we come back for a change of copy for that particular aspect of it, we would. If we could include that now, it would be better. But let me sort of regress and go back to the signage on the buildings.
Can we then, because we didn't mention it, obviously, can we, just for staff's clarification, please, the detached sign that was just approved, 3-2. We didn't discuss if it was going to be illuminated, if there was anything that you had any questions on. I mean, did we look at because this is indeed I know it already was approved, but it's blue with white letters, just so when you get into the building, that you can at least coordinate, because now this is like a given. This is going to be built. So I don't know what else is coming or what else they're going to.
And the sign is not a lit sign, the one we indirectly approved.
Okay.
I think we're directly approved.
It was internally
Trust me,
illuminated.
we backed into it by denying a motion to deny. So that approves
Is it going to be illuminated at
The
night?
sign was internally illuminated for Lotus Siam.
It does not say that here.
Okay, there
Well-
you go.
It doesn't?
No, it does not. And additionally, we're approving the sign as submitted. It says City National Bank with the logo, not Caja Madrid or anybody else. That is not being approved. So let's step back a second here, because the motion was to deny this, and it got approved as a denial to a denial. But we certainly don't want to be approving something that is not reflected here by accident. So the sign we're looking at for the monument sign specifically as part of this package is to replace the cover on the existing sign, and I guess just clean up the existing sign without any structural alteration to it. It'll look as it's presented in white letters on a blue background, the logo with City National Bank, that's it. And it's not illuminated. There's nothing here specifying illumination. It says faces are 2447 white LCD acrylic, as well as 3M 137 European blue vinyl. And the poles will be wrapped and covered in noble gloss brushed aluminum metallic paint.
So you approved it as presented on your
It's
on your
still a
package.
win because the bank is not open at night anyway, and people will know. I know it's a marker
Yes.
at night, and people would drive along and say, "Oh, there's the City Bank sign," as they're driving somewhere else. But
So actually, if
at least you got the sign.
Existing sign is internally illuminated.
well, this is not illuminated. This is not being presented as an illuminated sign. So let's
There's electrical that
Hold
goes
on.
to that.
hold on. I don't know. We need some clarification on this, because what we did is we had a motion. Okay, the motion was to deny the modification of the sign as being proposed. Okay, that motion fell. So by that motion falling, it implies that we approve the signage is being proposed. But we didn't specifically
If-
propose it. We
I'm
didn't
not-
make a motion to approve the sign and go over the details of the sign. The motion was deny completely, we don't even want to look at this thing, kind of thing. I think we should reopen it because we have to be very specific then, because we got into specifics of denying it, but we didn't get into specifics of if we approve it, what is it we're
exactly-
approving?
Right, okay.
So, I don't know if we can do another motion like that on this item, but
I
it
think
will
we
not be
have in the-
illuminate.
in the
We will not
past.
approve Illuminate. So,
Well, if it was
We
illuminated
would be in
before,
agreement
though,
with
what's the problem?
an alternate motion to approve with the required conditions for that sign. We feel more comfortable if you want to do it that way.
as presented, yeah. So we have a motion that was turned down, that was to deny you the ability to modify the sign, to put the new logo on it, and basically clean up the sign. That motion fell. Okay? So now we're looking at, we'll make a motion to approve the said monument sign that's being proposed, to be approved as proposed, which is a non-illuminated sign, to be refinished with the materials as stated, with the logo and the verbiage exactly as presented and stated, to read City National Bank, two-sided, right? Facing north and south, US 1.
Discussion?
Absolutely.
If the sign is already pre-existing, and it's already pre-existing illuminated, what's the problem?
Well,
If it's already illuminated, if it already has the electric going to it, if it already has the lights inside it, and everything is the same other than the copy.
because Sam Lotus didn't have 50 signs all over it. You know what I'm saying? It was a different sign for a different building that functioned differently with different signage on it. They have signage all over the place. We're granting them the sign. I mean, this is my position on it. Granting them the use of the sign because it is there, and I think it is a hardship to remove the signage that could be important in order to, because their building's so set back because of the unique condition and all that. But now to add one more lit sign on there, when to begin with, the existing sign, in my opinion, is horrible. I don't like it. I'd rather
I don't
keep
like
going.
it
That's why I
either.
asked the applicant, do you really need the sign? I mean, can you live without the sign? I don't think you need the sign.
I agree with you. I think it's a hardship, and I don't like the sign either. But because it is a hardship, and the sign is pre-existing, and if it's pre-existing and it's already illuminated, I just don't see the illumination being an issue if it's already there and the electric is already there, and it's just my opinion.
No, I understand. We have a motion. We have a motion. We have a motion on the monument sign to approve the monument sign as presented.
In the literature.
Yes, with the logo as shown, with the specifications on the construction of it as shown, which is a non-illuminated sign with the logo as it appears in the material specified, two-sided, non-illuminated sign.
So we're taking a vote again because they want this
That
sign
again, it's a
to-
separate motion.
It's
a
been
separate
illuminated.
motion.
Okay.
But
No, well, so the first one is done. Now they want this sign that was just passed
I've
3
made
to
a
2
motion.
illuminated.
it's been illuminated.
No.
Well, the plans do not say
I know.
illumination,
So
and
what-
the plans do not say the new wording
I'll
that they
repeat.
wanted,
It's
that they
fine.
introduced.
I'll repeat the motion. The motion is to approve the sign, the monument sign, as presented, exactly as presented, with the materials proposed, okay, the acrylic panel face on either side, non-illuminated monument sign, double-faced, and again, with the logo
Taking a
as shown.
vote again.
Again,
For
to approve it
clarification.
exactly as presented, which means
A
non-illuminated.
second?
We don't have a second yet, we're discussing.
So if there's a light switch inside the building, somebody has to actually not turn the light switch on at night to make sure it doesn't illuminate?
Just
Or they're gonna-
light switching, put a cover plate.
Okay.
Let me just chime in
Proffer
here.
not illuminating other signs on the building to keep this, to be able to light this one up.
I don't find it necessary, first of all, you know how I voted, but I don't find it necessary to illuminate this sign because it was done before at night. No one's going to the bank at night. So I'm gonna vote.
Actually, that's when I go to the bank.
There's an ATM
But-
machine there, so people do use it at night.
Well, there's other lights on the building, right?
So you would be willing, you think, to not illuminate other pre-existing signs and
Some of the wall signage for it not to be illuminated.
On the building?
On the building.
I'm willing
yes.
to make a deal that way.
Right, and that's,
Because I think this sign, if we've already approved it, it's grandfathered in, it is a hardship. Yes, people don't generally do banking at night, but like the gentleman said, there are people that use ATM machines, and it's dark, and it's fast, and it's US 1, so
Which sign
I
would
say
you?
we keep
which
the
sign
lights.
Which sign would you propose of the building signs would be illuminated, and which one would not be illuminated?
we're proposing to eliminate the north elevation wall sign completely.
Oh, hold on, let me see, north elevation.
It was on the revised.
Really, on that, eliminate that one altogether?
Yes.
That's the one that kind of is over the drive-through tellers?
That
on
one's
side?
not illuminated.
They want to remove this
North
completely?
is not illuminated.
No, they want to remove it completely.
Oh,
Gone. No signage there on that side of the building, period.
Over the windows there.
Over the teller.
over the drive.
Over the drive-through
Drive-through
canopy
tell-
area.
Exactly. So that would be removed, and then looking at the south elevation, you would
South, we
propose,
would keep the south elevation. And then on the front elevation, we propose the small logo that's next to the City National, removing that small logo.
but not illuminate the south elevation sign.
That south would be illuminated, yes.
Now you have two illuminated signs, the monument sign and now this one on the side of the building, both facing southbound. Which one's more important to you, the building sign to be illuminated or the monument sign to be illuminated? What's more critical to you guys
I
function-wise?
believe the monument sign's more.
The monument sign,
Monument sign's more.
you feel works better to inform the,
Right. And the front elevation signs, obviously. We could live with the
Well,
the
why
south
don't-
elevation sign being non-illuminated.
just a suggestion, we can discuss it here, illuminating the monument sign, only a monument sign, and the logo by itself on the front of the building. That way, the City National on the front and the City National on the side are not illuminated. So the two signs that look the same are not illuminated, and then the logo's illuminated in the front with the monument side in the front.
That works for me, but it's.
Any ideas, suggestions, feelings? Well, we kind of have to look at it
People
holistically
are coming
now
up from the
because
south to get into this building, to get into this property. And they're not coming from the north. There's a median, you can't turn there. So it seems to me that for your south elevation, even though the bank isn't open at night, but you have ATM signs, you might want the south side elevated because that's where people go into the parking lot.
Oh.
They see it from going north, but
Well, that's
coming
what-
up from the south.
that's what the monument sign's doing.
Oh, I see what you're saying, so,
Monument sign's doing.
okay.
So it would be redundant, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Agreed.
So I think there is logic to that. The monument sign being lit, it acts as the main focal point to direct people in and out, and the logo right over the entry, you know, sort of brands the building, and then the other smaller signs say City National are not lit.
I mean, from experience in the past, from the business that used to be there, the Siam Lotus Room, when I was meeting people that weren't familiar with the property, that sign, that monument sign really did help.
Yeah.
It did. People, they're like, oh, there it is, that's where we turn, because they couldn't see the little building.
Well,
like that.
you know, First National Bank of South Miami has their ATM machines in the parking lot, you know, off 58th Avenue. There is not one sign.
That's
There is
right
not
in the middle
one
of
sign.
walkable
It doesn't
traffic.
matter. You
Yes,
know
it does.
what?
It's
People
not on
don't
US
know-
1.
People don't know it's First National Bank, but they know there's an ATM machine there.
Yeah, and they're walking. They're not on US 1 walking.
The just out of curiosity, is there a possibility of I just suggest it of having the main logo sign that we're discussing, possibly illuminating, of just being back illuminated, so it's not just giant glowing box. Again, since you're getting the big giant monument sign, you know what I'm saying? It illuminates from the back out, so you get like a sort of like a halo effect.
Silhouette
Like
kind
a
of thing.
silhouette or a halo. I mean, because you've got a lot going on graphically on the building. You've got the perforated, I'm assuming it's perforated metal. It's not specified very clearly, but I'm sure it's specified more clearly in the building drawings that were approved for construction. But the perforated panel with the logo. You've got the signage, two signs which we're considering allowing on the front of the building, and then the sign on the side, and then the monument sign.
Yes.
We can agree with that.
We can agree to that.
Okay. So it
We
could
do
still
have
be-
a motion, we do have a motion that
Let me
says
amend it.
non-illuminated. Keep that in mind, please.
Well, let's discuss a little bit because I'm going to have to amend the motions to make sure we're all kind of clear about it. So, any ideas, opinions? You lost? I think we're
I
working.
don't think you need me on this one.
No. Of course we do.
Opinions?
I should have never went to the ladies' room.
Any questions? I mean, I think what we're discussing right now is allowing the monument sign out on the street because that's the most critical for them. They feel it's most
Illuminated.
important to
Illuminated.
illuminated. And then they are proposing to remove the sign that they had proposed originally on the north side completely. They don't need it. And then on the south and west elevation, the signage that is the small logo with the City National Bank words on it would be non-illuminated as well and would be there on the building. And then the one large logo-only sign over the entry would be illuminated, be a backlight illumination on the building.
You
think
said
that's where we're at.
South non-illuminated?
Right, the two logos that the two logos that are the small logo with the City National Bank, which one is located on the west elevation, and the other one's located on the south elevation, would not be illuminated.
I see.
They'd be made out of the blue acrylic material, but they would not be illuminated.
And then the big logo on the...
And the big logo would be illuminated, but be a back illumination. It wouldn't be an illuminated box. It'd be a back illumination that gives it kind of like a glow instead.
And
That
the-
way it doesn't compete with their monument sign, detract from it.
Now, question, what about the ATM walk-up,
Yeah, where is
where people are going to
Oh, I see.
go to an ATM machine at night?
I apologize, I didn't hear the question, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm formulating it.
Probably drive-through.
The,
I think it's...
that-
It shows right there.
Two ATMs. There is the one you can walk into, or drive, park, walk into, but there's one you can circle around. It's on the outside of the drive-through lane, the second lane right here.
okay, and the illumination for those,
We have lot lights through the parking lot,
Okay.
lot lights.
Plus, I'm sure the ATM itself is self-illuminated and all that.
Yeah, the ATM is in canopy lights. Yep.
okay, I'm asking that question because 2 weeks ago, we had the SunTrust Bank, and they had the illumination in their actual ATM area and their logo. So I didn't know if that was going to be something of a similar type of a project with their ATM machine. So, okay.
Okay, so let me amend my motion. I make a motion to approve the monument sign as presented to be illuminated. Existing condition is that it is an illuminated sign, to continue illuminated, but the logo to appear as presented, reading City National Bank with the logo at the appropriate sizes shown with the finishes proposed as well. Additionally, we approve to have or make a motion to approve the smaller sign that has the logo with the word City National Bank building signs along, non-illuminated, along the west side and along the south side of the building. Correct? Yes. And one illuminated sign of the logo alone on the west elevation over the entry, but to be backlit illumination on that logo.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I think it was, you stated non-illuminated along the west and the south, and you meant north and south.
Oh, north and south? I'm sorry.
No, you're right. West and south.
Non-illuminated north and south.
No, we eliminated the
Eliminated
north.
sign.
Altogether?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, and then additionally,
Well, can we-
the applicant has stated that they've revised the application to completely remove the formerly proposed north elevation sign that read City National Bank. That is not being considered, it's being removed. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional questions or concerns?
Well, I just want to ask, are you all okay with that, or are you going to come back and, appeal this, next meeting?
No, we are,
You're okay
We're
with
fine.
that?
This-
You're okay with our motion?
yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome. So now, when people are traveling on the
Northbound, US 1.
no, but if they're traveling southbound on US 1,
Back there, you'll see the freestanding sign.
that's the only sign they're going to see for your bank.
Yes.
They're not going to see it on the building because the building's set back. But you're okay with that trade-off. Good. I think it's important for you to use the pre-existing monument sign.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Ms.
Yes,
Montana?
Dan, yeah.
Ms.
Yes.
McCain?
I vote no, only because they're all grouped together.
Okay. And Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
Myself, yes as well. You can proceed with building
Passes
permit. Thank
4 to
you.
1.
Thank you.
Thank you about that.
I don't like it either.
That's existing.
That's all right.
FDOT will not allow anything.
I know.
At least they want to work it.
Please coordinate your plans as per the conditions approved today,
But you don't understand, we have the purview.
I know.
and your permit as well. Okay, thank you. Yes, it'd be wonderful, yes. Thank you.
I'll be honest with you.
No, they're looking over.
And the FDOT information as well.
One clarification.
Thank you.
He wasn't here.
Is it really okay that we approved all these signs as a group? I mean, or is it, or, you know,
Yeah,
or is this going to come back to bite us?
It's clear,
Oh,
I
the
mean, it
package
was
has been
detached, illuminated.
No, and
No,
I think they're
Tiffany was
happy
gonna
with
need
the trade-off
help, 'cause
and
she
that
was
we've
sorry.
made.
mouthing, she was mouthing one motion at a
You're
time,
welcome.
one motion
Well-
at a time. And I would have voted differently if it was one motion at a time, but I realized why it had to be done this way.
Let's
So-
see if Marcus agrees with me. If I get a second from Marcus, the detached, illuminated, to read only City National Bank, none of the other
Is that
stuff. Not illuminated along the west and the south.
No, not illuminated.
Non-illuminated along the west and the south. The north sign's
Was
going to be
omitted by the
removed
applicant?
altogether, and the big logo on the front is backlit only.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, what about,
No, if I would have a concern, I would definitely ask. That's why sometimes I interrupt. I'm sorry, but I like to be crystal clear.
Yeah, you have to.
and for clarification, the Caja group, that's not a part of it, and the new one is, it's not going to be on, okay.
Thank you. And it is a very nice building. Okay, next application we have before us, and last application, would be RPB 12-024. Applicant is Art Sign Company. This is for Primo, location at 7356 Southwest 57th Avenue for a signage installation.
Sorry, I was freezing. I had to.
See, at least I'm not the only one that was cold.
Lourdes, I'd like to make a motion to defer this application, and I would like to explain. I spoke to Chris Bremo. I believe it needed to be come in front of the ERPB in regard to an exterior renovation approval. I went by there a couple of times and I took some photos. And to save everybody's time, I'd like to know how you thought. The photos are here. This application is here today for signage. But this is also known as the Blue Mall facing Red Road, where the Paper Boutique is. It was one storefront that is being divided in the interior with a wall to create another business called Primo. They have changed the front door. There are photos here that shows the front door has been changed, and they needed to come in front of the ERPB for a approval, like everybody else. So I spoke to Chris, and I guess they're going to pull the microfilms on that. So we cannot approve signage until we get this clarified. The photos clearly show, Marcus and Lourdes, that there are now two front doors where there was one. It shows the door frame, the old frame versus the new door frame. I really think we're putting the cart before the horse on there. I think.
So you're saying this was one business front, and now it's been subdivided inside?
If you look here, this is the original store. That was also this whole thing. This was the original door. Now they put in this door, but when they made application for the sign, if you can see the steel thing in there, they put this door in here. And according to the Environmental Review Board, any alterations need to come in front of the ERPB.
Now, does that looks like it might have been in the past a door and another business, so it's not like it was two separate businesses.
Here.
Well, we have, what we're reviewing today is for the signage application. The applicant actually is the property owner, correct? Which is Stephen Hessen Company, is the property
We have
owner
an
of the mall?
authorization letter from them. I'm
And you
looking
do-
The applicant is with the signage company.
Oh, right, the property owner.
But I think we're putting the cart, you don't go for signage until you get approval of a renovation. Just like if you remember Lucy Agnes a few months ago came before us. Lucy Agnes came in where Lucy Agnes used to be, and they were changing the front of the store. If anybody changes a door in commercial, you need to come in front of the Environmental Review Board. For example, if
The one on Sunset did.
Yeah. In other words, if Mr. Primo came in front of Lourdes and say, okay, I need a signage, where are you going? I'm going to Red Road. Oh, are you going in another building? Yeah. Where's your front entrance? Are you using the same entrance as Paper Boutique? Obviously not, because this is a brand-new door. Was it approved? They have a permit. They have a permit in the building department to do the renovation. And I spoke to Mr. Bremo this morning before I came here, and had communication with him last evening. And they're going to go on microfilm to see if that second door was always there. If not,
Previously?
Well, I mean, the application is being put forth for that location, for signage for that location. They have a letter of approval from the property
owner. Yes.
Yeah, from the property owner that he acknowledges and approves.
And he signed my application.
Said sign to be put in. Yes. There's apparently, which really doesn't have to do with this application directly, that there's a building permit. And if there's any
the interior renovation.
No, I understand. If there's any, but that's a code enforcement issue. If there's a code and
this is an ERPB issue, because the bottom line is it should have come before we approve signage. We have to approve.
Not necessarily in that order.
Well,
no, not necessarily in that order.
We are matching the existing top sign out there.
I'm not talking about the sign.
Right.
I'm not talking about the sign. It's not an issue about the sign.
Not necessarily. You can do a storefront. You can do a storefront renovation. Before you do a sign, you could do it vice versa. The point, I understand your concern that if they demise a space, if the space was one larger space, and now they've demised into two smaller spaces, that's being done legally. Well, we're not really reviewing that per se. It's a very good. It's a very good concern. I agree 100% with you. It's a very good concern, but that's really something to be alerted to code enforcement, the building official, and they'll investigate it. But as far as the sign.
Actually, I don't think it needs to go to code enforcement. It needs to go back to the planning director, which I brought to his attention, because it should never come before us for signage until we do first things first.
Well,
signage usually comes, as a second, they get the approval for the renovation, and then they go for signage afterwards.
Well, let's do this.
I think what I hear Ms. McCain expressing is that if the tenant or the homeowner, if they are in some kind of a violation of the code, they should.
That's not what I'm saying, Lourdes. I'm saying, let's say I'm Mr. Bremo. I'm going to make this really. Let me finish, please. I'm going to make this as simple as I can. I'm Mr. Bremo. I have an appointment with Ms. Cabrera in the Environmental Review Board. I am a new business owner in the city.
Yes.
Okay. I am doing a renovation. What, Ms. Lourdes Cabrera, what do I need to do? Where are you going, Mr. Bremo? I'm going in to where the Paper Boutique was. Is there going to be a renovation? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's one entrance. Yes. Are you going to create your second entrance? Yes. Well, then you need to make application with the Environmental Review Board for approval of your entrance. That was not done. But apparently, they went ahead and skipped that whole part and went for signage. Those are questions that I think you should have asked, and that was my concern.
Don't think this is the place to be discussing all of this, but I can answer your questions.
It's certainly not a code enforcement issue.
Chair, if you like.
Well, I think
it's not a code enforcement
issue. Through the chair, I will answer.
Well, no, like I mentioned, we're reviewing application for signage. The applicant's here specifically for signage. She knows nothing about storefronts. Correct?
I know nothing.
There is an application submitted for the record.
I totally agree and understand the concern, and it's a valid concern. Not so much, in my opinion, if a storefront got changed, if somebody swapped out a door to a newer door, but if I'm understanding what Ms. McCain's saying is that this larger space has now been subdivided into two smaller spaces, which is okay as long as they've done it correctly.
They received a building, an interior.
That has nothing to do with this, with the exterior elevation.
I know,
Would you like to see the plans?
I don't care what.
Could we please?
No,
If
you know what,
if
Lourdes?
you have them available
I am
for reference.
requesting, no, we're not, going.
Wait,
Let me
wait,
explain
hold
something.
on.
Mr. Bremo is currently getting Lydia to pull the microfilm on the architectural design of this particular storefront.
I think.
I think this was done incorrectly, and that's what I'm pointing out, because I spoke to Chris, and just because an architect put in 2 doors, that does not mean that there were 2 doors there 2 weeks ago.
Let's take a quick look.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're here reviewing. This is.
I want to make a motion to do this thing proper, because it seems bi-monthly, we always get an application here on revisions that just seem to just happen by the wayside.
Staff has handed to us, just for reference, to look at permit number 12-81 for property at 7390 Southwest 57th Avenue. In parentheses, it says 7356. And just to confirm and make sure that the space that is applying for the signage permit, in fact, has submitted for a permit to operate and do tenant improvements for said business.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
How do we know that that second door was there 2 weeks ago? We do not know.
Well, we don't, but that's not what the applicant's here for. The applicant's here is for a logo. That's all. I mean, I'm sorry for sign. I'm sorry.
Well, this is an issue that's been going on for 3 days, and I couldn't get the help of Lourdes, so I had to go to Chris, and Lydia was not in yesterday to pull the microfilm. My whole thing is that we need to do things not out of sequence, okay? And my only request is that the applicant, any applicant, that they come before Lourdes, we get it right, and, you come for signage, that's one application. You come for an exterior renovation, that's the first application.
Not necessarily. No, you're wrong. Not necessarily. There's no specific.
I know
sequence
people
that's mandated.
that are constructing a store. Their logo has been approved and it's there, and they've got paper on the windows, and they're still working.
Right here, that this applicant does not plan on going in front of the ERPB for approval, because I got that feedback, okay?
Well, no. I mean, it's been noted, and it's on record now that there's a concern about possible unpermitted, illegal modification of the storefront.
And staff has
now
checked. There hasn't been the inspections done on the site either, and that could be brought up at the time.
I'm not concerned about the interior. That's not our job.
Interior or anything else, it's done at an inspection, including a zoning inspection, for example, and anything that requires that it be presented to the ERPB, again, is caught and brought before the ERPB.
Okay, just for the record, you know what?
They've done work out of their scope, out of what was approved on the plans. That is beyond staff's control.
No.
And that seems to be the case
You
here.
do not approve exterior elevations.
Of course, but their proposal on the plans was not to include or revise the exterior.
Okay, so let's go. Very simple.
The application before us is signed.
Ms. McCain has brought up an issue, non-related to this item, that there's
Noted.
possible modification
From
has
Friday.
occurred.
That's right.
Has occurred on the storefront. If staff or whoever can please notify code enforcement or building
Staff has
department.
notified the director, and we're currently seeking additional information.
Perfect. So it's duly noted. Now, in reviewing the sign just been presented before us, thank you for waiting.
Yes, to the applicant, for the sign applicant.
So
It's really a property owner and a tenant issue.
And I don't believe that any renovation they will do will change the place that we're
No,
placing
not at
our
all.
signs.
No.
So-
No.
It's just problems
no.
with the way things are done.
if staff would like to present
Marcus,
some
would you like
comments?
to
Not a problem.
present your report, please?
Not a problem. The item is before you is for installation of signage at 7356 Red Road for the installation of signage for Primo. It's a computer repair service business that's going to be going in new and the building. They're proposing one flat sign that will be located above the storefront that will read, it consists of 2 lines of text. The first line will be Primo. It'll be a combination of white and red lettering, mainly the O and Primo will be red, the rest of the letters will be white. The second line of text will will read computer repair plus business services, the services that they provide to their customers, and this will be black colored lettering on the second line. The sign will have an approximate square feet of 12 square feet, which complies with the land development code for flat signs. The maximum that you're allowed is 20% of the facade and 200 square feet. Therefore, the sign complies with the regulation listed for flat signs in the land development code. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following conditions. At the time when this report was written, an approval letter from the owner was not submitted. I understand that
I have that.
Denise has, and she will submit that at this time. Any additional signage will require a separate application to the board for review, and any comments and or suggestions from the board. Thank you.
I know we've gone over this before with past signage applications. I just want to make sure, so we're trying to be as consistent as possible. The name of the official name of the company is Primo Computer Repair and Business Services.
Staff did not check that to see if that was the exact name. If you would like, we can make that a condition.
Yeah, I think
But remember,
just like we
that's
did
not
with the bank
something-
previously, we limited to only their logo. I think we try and be consistent with that.
Okay.
Is that the only sign that the applicant plans on using?
Yes,
Are you
other
aware
than
of-
they may put their hours of operation on the door, but
Nothing on the window?
not that I'm aware of. They haven't asked us to do anything.
We always tend to. We were just discussing that in applications past. Sometimes, like, the name of the company is, let's say, Primo, and the legal registration of the company is Primo, and then people come and say Primo Computer Repair and Business Services, and technically, they're only allowed to put the signage with the name of the business as it is legally registered.
So technically, computer repair and business services isn't really supposed to be a part of
If it's not
the logo.
This has happened with some of the cell phone companies that when they put their signage, it has singular, and then it says like their tagline.
Because,
we've
well,
not allowed it.
Yeah, and if you see the word Primo, you wouldn't know
Yeah, exactly.
what type of business it is, and without.
I'm
the-
okay with computer repair and business services underneath
Do
it.
they have a second store?
I have no idea.
Okay, so it's an illuminated sign, basically.
Yes.
The colored areas, those are opaque acrylic, so the light would not illuminate through that. Or would only illuminate through the white part, or the whole
Yes,
thing. would
only
go?
the white. Well, the red would illuminate also, but the black would not, of course.
The black would
Yes.
not. So the red and the white would glow, and the rest would not. And the box is finished in what kind of material?
The box itself is aluminum, and it will be painted the teal.
It'll be painted to match the existing mansard roof.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all conduits and transformers are hidden.
Yes.
None of them are surface or exposed.
So as the plans note.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the signage application as presented before us.
I'll second.
No further questions. Mr. Montana?
Yes.
Ms. McCain?
I approve the signage, but I'm going to ask Mr. Bremo to follow up on this
Definitely.
land develop, ERPB issue. Thank you.
Ms. Schwartz?
Yes.
Mr. Gill?
Yes.
And myself, yes, as well. You approve unanimously. You can proceed.
So it is approved with the computer, the tagline?
Yes.
As
Thank you.
presented.
As presented.
Could I have the letter of approval for the file, please? Thank you, Denise.
Okay, that concludes the items before us today, and we have our meeting minutes for Tuesday, March 20, 2012. If we can, I'll take a moment to review if we haven't already. If there are any comments, feel free to note them. Any comments, corrections?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Oh, okay, so
I-
meeting minutes approved.
Yeah, I have a comment before we close the meeting. If you notice in the minutes, there was some verbiage, thank you, Tiffany, for discussing what Mr. Fernandez and I brought up, and we all agreed about approving stuff before the ERPB, and then applicants come after the fact. They could be minor, they could be major, and it seems like we see this too often. And my other issue is in regard to the Primo issue. You know, that also affects our tax rolls. Could be wrong, when a storefront is then subdivided, okay? So it's very important that, you know, I've been here almost a year to realize that, you know, I'm a stickler for doing things first, second, third. Yes, signage application. Can signage application be also part of an application of an original exterior renovation? Can they both come together, or are they separate?
Signage, it's usually handled separate because of its complexity. Not that it comes before or after anything. Any existing tenant can change their sign at any given time, can change the storefront and vice versa.
I do have a problem. You know, this is basic. This is just, you know, this is a dividing up a store, having an extra thing, and.
But they divided it legally. I mean, there's a permit.
I'm not saying that.
But the storefront, I understand. You're saying that they swapped out a door. They modified the storefront.
Maybe.
Yeah, they modified the storefront without getting proper permit
And we
for
see it all the time here. I mean, we saw Lucy Agnes,
But
whoever's
it's good
coming
that
in there.
we catch them. Think about it.
Obviously,
we catch them.
It's in the record right now.
We shouldn't have to catch them.
But it happens. That's life. I mean,
In construction, when you go out to the inspection,
I'm going to say, if I'm Mr. Primo and I go in front of Lourdes and I say,
but he
the
doesn't
subdividing, everybody is.
but they did subdivide legally. It's a replacement of a storefront. You're mixing two things. They subdivided it. Staff provided the.
I don't know. Maybe my question would have been, okay, you're here. Well, I'm here. My job here is for exterior renovation and bring things before the ERPB. Are you going to have another main entrance? Whether that question was answered or answered.
They don't have to. In fact, the drawings show that no, the storefront wasn't signaled out as new storefront being installed.
Well, we're going to find out.
They didn't apply for it. At least from what I saw in the drawings provided by staff of that building permit was granted. It's for the interior renovation to redemise the space into
That's
the space
fine.
that's proposed.
That's
and
not our
whatever other
business.
interiors.
as a matter of fact, the application says limited to.
Interior.
I don't really, you know what, the application can say anything it wants to.
That's not, staff's job is not to go around driving around trying to.
Well,
catch
staff's-
it. Code enforcement. That's what.
But
Well,
inspection
actually,
time,
not code enforcement.
in inspection times
No, it
on
should
new
have been caught-
homes,
should have been caught when
we
it came
pull out our files, we see what was approved at ERPB,
Well, we'll find
and many
out.
times new constructions come back for revisions.
It's not
after
a new
the
construction.
fact.
No, well, with the,
But
the
they do
microfilm will
things
show whether there was
during.
a second door there.
Of course, our
And I'm just saying it's staff's place to ask.
specific questions, interior versus exterior, because then it needs to come to ERPB.
Let me ask
Everyone
you,
knows
hypothetically,
anything to the
new
exterior,
the new
ERPB.
applicant that came in front of Lucy Agnes, where Lucy Agnes was, or was it the jewelry store, that they moved the storefront up?
They removed the jewelry boxes.
Right.
That, it's, I don't even know how to explain it to you, Ms. McCain. Mr. Fernandez, you remember that application?
Wasn't here then.
At all.
It was a storefront, but it had jewelry boxes. The jewelry boxes were elevated from the floor about 4 feet or 3 to 4 feet, and they had a case to put their jewelry. That got removed. This obviously it was no longer a jewelry store, and now you had a new partition.
Just steps back. Yeah.
It's an exterior.
They came
renovation.
before of course, yes.
That's what they applied for. They applied
Correct.
for exterior storefront modification.
Well, that's why we're checking the microfilm. And I just think it's questions that need to be asked. Because then it could be a tax roll problem, too, and we're not getting this,
Why?
because it's an extra store.
No, it's not. They have to get a.
No, in other words, one store is
Sharon,
divided into
Sharon,
two
you're-
stores.
No, Sharon, please
Isn't it
understand
not?
something. they got a permit.
Your
legally.
PP is not.
They got a permit to do an interior renovation and subdivide a store into
Interior.
two, which means they have to get a CO, they have to get a certificate of occupancy when they finished it
I
that,
know.
and close out that. The moment they do that, then they apply for their certificate of use and occupational licenses.
I know.
They get taxed for that as an operating business in the city of South Miami. They would be completely insane to try and subdivide the store without doing it legally. I mean, they have a building permit.
No,
If they're
I'm not
doing it legally, they
questioning-
would have never gotten a building
no,
permit.
I understand
The question I think you have, is, if I'm understanding, is that, hey, they went ahead and changed the storefront, you know.
So they made a mistake.
Get a
Some
permit for it.
obviously
They
there's a
didn't get
mistake. I believe, Ms. McCain, that they are doing something on the exterior. It's very obvious anywhere if you do something and you change something on the exterior, it's very obvious.
I don't
And
think it's something out of malice. It might be something out of oversight. But Louis, just out of curiosity, since we're on that topic, with that building permit for that kind of renovation, do you guys require? Because we don't have internal fire review. We use county for fire, right?
No.
correct. We don't have a fire department.
For tenant improvement, are we on the record still? Or?
I
thought
think
we're
we
done.
are.
Oh, we are? Okay. I guess we're recording. So, for example, for that tenant improvement, that would have gone to county fire review, correct?
Yes.
And it, did
Actually,
it?
they've
Did it?
stamped.
There you go. So, life safety.
That's not my issue.
No, but what I'm saying is that they've complied.
access.
They've complied with access. They've complied with occupancy. They've complied with number of. No, not after fact. It's there on those drawings right there. Now, the fact that they
Terms,
modified the
approval?
storefront, the fact that maybe they reflected the storefront as existing, the way they show it in the drawing, and it really isn't like that in real life, and then they modified it after the fact because they realized, oh my God, we showed it in the drawings one way, but it really doesn't exist like let's modify it. That's a separate issue.
Our site plan is stamped
oversight, it's a
approved
mistake, it's
Miami-Dade
whatever it may be.
County, approved Miami-Dade County Fire Department on 2/28/12.
So there's no concern about revenue or anything like that. They've done everything legally and perfectly. If they accidentally forgot the storefront modification, oops, they'll deal with it now. They'll deal with it now with building permits.
It's out of staff's.
Not done.
Adjourned?
No, actually.
Meeting adjourned.
Beth?
Thank you.